My name is Lauri, Yanis, and I walk as part of a team of two. We've gone under a lot of different names, but this year we're walking as the Boobies. It's my husband and I. And, my very favorite moment is probably the memory of meeting this very friendly walker on my first walk, who turned out to be my husband eventually. But beyond that, really what I wanted to think about was what I wrote about today in my blog, which is the difference between moments and memories from the 3-day. Because I feel like once you've been on a 3-day, there's moments that thread their way through every 3-day, and we do two every year, one as a walker and one as a crew. And every 3-day every year has certain special moments that become different memories for each person and become different memories for each year. And, sometimes I lose track of what year something happened, but it doesn't matter because there's this constancy to the 3-day. So I wanted to talk about a favorite moment and the favorite memory that's attached to that moment. So my favorite moment is during opening ceremonies. There are the flags that get carried in, and there are flags that have statements on them that are the moments in people's lives, the everyday moments that represent the concept that everybody deserves a lifetime, and they're lifetime moments, graduation, weddings, moments like that. And there are flags that represent those people who we're walking to honor. So there's flags that say sister, or daughter, or best friend. And those flags are carried in as part of the opening ceremony. But a favorite moment for me is when those flags are handed off during the walk. So as we're all walking, we carry a flag for a few minutes or a few miles that has the name of a person that we walk for, but not an individual, so a mother or a daughter. And I find it just so incredibly moving because the more events that I do, the more I realize that everybody I walk with has dozens or hundreds of people who they walk to represent. You may start out, as I did, walking just to represent or to honor one person. But as soon as you start to talk about doing this event, you're told about all these other mothers and sisters and brothers and best friends who need what the walk does for them. So seeing those flags move through the event is a favorite moment. But for me, I have a favorite memory attached to those flags. It was in Philly 2 years ago. I was walking by myself the afternoon of the second day, and I saw a woman walking by herself. As someone who started this event as a solo walker, and although I am part of a team of two now, I really do walk alone a lot of the time, but I'm almost never walking alone. I'm always looking for someone to walk with. The more you have a companion when you walk, the better the stories are, the faster the miles go, the less the blisters hurt. So this particular afternoon, I saw this one walker, and I approached her from, I walked up from behind, and I asked if she needed company. And her face was red, she looked like she'd been crying, and she said, "Yeah, I really need some company. I'm having a really hard time." And I said, "Well, physically, emotionally?" And she said, "Physically, this is a lot harder than I expected it to be." I said, "Well, let's just walk together for a while." I said, I looked at the little card and I said, "We're about 4 miles from lunch." I said, "I guarantee you that lunch is going to get here before you know it." And it did. We walked and we told each other stories, and I talked about why I was walking and what the walk had come to mean to me. It was her first walk. And then she told me that she was walking for her mother, and that her mother was in treatment right now. She'd been diagnosed, if I remember correctly, like 3 or 4 months before she had decided to do the walk. So she was really in the thick of treatment. And that walking for her mom made her feel like she was really making a difference. So we talked a lot about that. And we got to the point where you could hear lunch, but you couldn't see it yet, but you could hear all the hubbub and you knew you were getting really close. And she looked at me and she said, I can't believe we're already there. And as we did, this crew member on safety came up on his bicycle and stopped and handed off the flag to her and said, I think you need to carry this. And of course, it was the flag that said mother. So she looked at me and, we both, of course, got a little bit weepy. And she put the flag up on her shoulder. And, we walked with such power into lunch. And we're walking into lunch and we're still kind of, talking, blah, 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 blah. And I look up and there are these three women walking towards us. And one of them is wearing, a pink ribbon kerchief. She's clearly has no hair. And they're walking right towards us. Let's see if I can do this without crying. So they're walking right towards us. And I look up and this woman I'm walking with doesn't notice. And they're walking like they know us. And I tap her and she looks up. And it was her mother and her sister and a family friend. And they had driven 3.5 hours so that they could surprise her. And so she, of course, runs over and hugs her mom. And, there's that mother flag wrapped around her. And the mother flag and the pink ribbon kerchief. And it's just, it's an incredible memory. And I feel like that flag, brought her mother there because those flags have been carried by so many walkers and touched by so many crew members that they have all the magic of the 3 day in them. And that's my favorite memory.